I think Iran, I can say on a sort of a different scale, is in its own way working out very well. Maybe it's hard to say just as well, but maybe almost just as well. And we're doing very well in terms of negotiating a fair and reasonable deal. But no, if Iran doesn't live up to their agreement, or if they're not behaving, I will do what I have to do. But as long as they respect us, we're not going to have any trouble.
Trump's optimism comes as JD wraps up a second day of negotiations in Switzerland. He claims that Iran will let nuke inspectors back in, and the terror regime could buy American crops with billions of unfrozen assets. But all that's lost on the Dems, who are now the party of forever wars.
That's like giving somebody credit for literally an arsonist starting a fire and getting credit for running out of the burning building. This president has led this nation into a disaster. We have surrendered our power. We have capitulated to the enemy, and they now are mocking us.
What we've got as a result of that war, which President Trump was the first to take the bait on, what is a strengthened Iran in terms of its geopolitical stature in the region.
So, Charlie, this is interesting because there's a lot of, we see a lot of criticism, and you have the neocons who want a regime change, ground troops, forever wars. But people say you shouldn't have done this, and now you haven't done enough. And then you have the media trying to figure out who they should be backing in the criticism, but they don't care as long as it's criticism.
Yeah, as long as it's criticism against Donald Trump. Whereas in Trump's party is the only like reasonable debate that's going on anywhere. But this thing about how they're so desperate to try to compare this deal to the deal with Obama. And you have Susan Rice talking about how Iran is somehow strengthened now and accuses Trump of having been the first person to take the bait, which to me, I think is her way. She's constantly trying to rewrite history, constantly trying to revise the very, very bad deal that Obama gave us. And so then you have the New York Times piling on, trying to claim that the situation now that we're in at the beginning of the 60-day period of negotiation is no different from where we were at the beginning of the war, which is total BS. You mean it's not changed at all in that their nuclear program has been demolished, their missile program has been decimated, their top 40 leaders have all been annihilated, and they want to act like that this is already a failure. And I honestly don't believe that normal people are buying it. I think a lot of people are they're tired of the wars. They're tired and they don't like gas prices going up. But I think most people are open to the idea that actually Trump is making a negotiation that could wind up being smarter than any of his predecessors.
Like Iran is like the uncooperative drunk guy at a bar who steals your phone. He could give it back, or he could get his ass kicked and then give it back. Either way, it's the same outcome. It's just that Iran now just got its ass kicked, and they're at the same place, but worse.
Well, now, but he does it every Saturday night.
Yes.
And he's limping now because he's been somewhat wounded, but we also don't know what he's got in his pockets. And so can I go back to one thing? It's interesting to see Susan Rice on television.
Yes.
Because during the Biden administration, she was in charge of the Domestic Policy Council, right? She had been National Security Council under Obama, right?
Yeah.
And then she was with Biden. You couldn't get her to do an interview during the Biden years and the Biden border crisis. There was none of that. And where is she? I would love to know, did you have interactions with Biden? That's very interesting to me that all of a sudden she wants to come back and be an expert on all of this. You once called me an optimistic pragmatist. So I would like to look on the bright side, but I also think I reserve the right to be skeptical about all of this. I think the we'll see is what the MOU is supposed to be.
Yes.
It's supposed to be, let's wait 60 days and see, which is why I think it's a little hard to swallow that this is the best, this is amazing, this is so great, isn't this amazing, this is so terrific. I'm like, well, wait, hold on a second. 2 months ago, you wanted people to defend the president's decisions, and they did, people who support him. And now you want them to completely change their worldview and everything they've said for the last 60 days, and that they're jerks and awful, and they're going to be cast aside and out of the party because they don't agree with him now after 24 hours of trying to be spun on this deal. And to me, I just wish that they would give everybody a minute.
Yeah.
If you are going to ask for 60 days from the Iranians, let's take it. Let's everybody take a beat, go to your corners, have a second. Now, that will depend also on Iran doing the right thing, because I don't for a second believe that there was some like lone Hezbollah fighter shooting rockets into Israel over the weekend. Those things are done at the top. And Iran wants nothing more than there to be more daylight between the United States and Israel. And they're working really hard at that. So I don't love that. Epic Fury was a success, but it will only be an ultimate success if they can complete this thing or, well, finish it one way or the other. And I think it's just way too early to know how it's going to turn out.
You have their missiles are depleted. Their capacity to enrich uranium should be thwarted for decades. The real risk of proliferation is gone for a long time. It seems to me that was 110 days well worth it.
Ahoy, matey.
Yeah. I have a little dog down here pulling on my shorts.
How was the Strait of Hormuz over the weekend? Okay? Yeah, Iran lost the war. They surrendered, and now they're letting the United States and the UN in to look at their sites and their uranium, and then they're going to destroy it. Do I need to keep talking? I mean, that sounds pretty good. Very funny. But Dana's right. If they do say at the end of 60 days, go F yourself, all the uranium's buried. They can't touch it. So does it even really matter? And so now you have people coming out like, what, Booker and Rice? We don't take them seriously. They're buffoons. We only put their sound bites in the segment for friction. The nuke program is destroyed. The military, 85% destroyed, and the Strait's open. Greg's gone out there peacefully.
Yes.
He hasn't been attacked. Iran's bluffed their way the last 10 days. There's been no tankers that have been attacked. We're actually going to wrap this up, hopefully pretty soon, and we can move on to Cuba. My banking buddy told me that after we topple Castro, we're going to be able to buy 100 acres of pristine Cuban coastline for like 50 G's.
Is that insider trading or
Not insider trading? That's just word on the street.
How does this contribute to this segment?
What I'm saying is Donald Trump is crushing it on the world stage. We now have Latin America and the Middle East under our thumb. We are now OPEC. And the Chinese economy is struggling, and Putin's losing this war in Ukraine. J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio are looking really good. Trump's delegated beautifully. They've gotten experience, respect, stature. Meanwhile, Harris and Newsom, what are they, cackling and selling knee pads? Forget about that. But Dana is right. The Jewish question is going to be a situation with this deal because the population of Israel, they want Netanyahu to go hard in Lebanon. And he's getting probably trounced if he doesn't go hard. He's up for re-election. And the Iranians know that. So anytime they want to try to rupture our alliance with Israel, they push a button, a rocket comes out of Beirut, and then we have to deal with the Iranians and Israel. And we know that's not very fun to babysit, but that's what's the good part about being a world superpower is you got the world's currency reserve and you got $1.5 trillion Pentagon budget. So it's in their court.
It's like Mary Poppins' bag.
Exactly. The banks can open or close and the bombs can get dropped or sold.
This was the opportunity to do that with Iran. So what's the problem? Finally, somebody, instead of just like mowing the lawn, flattened the garden.
Sure. I don't know about flattening the garden or what kind of coat rack Jesse just pulled out of his bag. But you're not also supposed to say Jews instead of Israel. They're separate things.
Just the Israeli Jews.
Just say Israel.
Okay.
No, I'm just giving you some. I'm giving you some Jew advice. Okay. Don't conflate those things.
Okay. Now do flatten her.
Please excuse me while I show you my Totenkopf. What are you talking about? The tattoo is bad, obviously.
But you, well, never mind.
Enough.
Go ahead.
Okay. I would rather people be talking than not talking. So this is a net positive. Obviously, you know, the Iranians are out there with their PR from the weekend saying we walked away from the table when in reality they were at the table. I think the Qatari and Pakistani statement, you know, suggests that there was some real headway made. But there were only a couple of item lines in the MOU that actually had any specificity to them. And both of them are not going particularly well so far. So Jesse says the strait is open. But they closed the strait 2 or 3 times in the last couple of days, showing that they can still do that. CNBC said, how open is open? I don't know. That's a big question. And it's also a lot fewer tankers than what you need to be able to getting through to get the world's economy back going. But the biggest win for Iran in this is
75 a barrel, Jessica.
Okay.
I think everybody realizes it's open.
Just go ahead and ignore the fact that Iran closed it when it felt like it and then reopened it
They
when
said
it felt
they
like it.
closed it, but them saying they closed it and it being closed.
Only 3 tankers getting through.
But CNN asked a valuable question.
Great. What are you talking about? 65
Okay,
out yesterday.
the biggest win in the MOU, the thing that aggravates the strongest supporters of the president the most, is Iran being able to sell oil on the open market, essentially rolling back 40 years of sanctions. I mean, even entities that were sanctioned under this global terrorism sanction regulations, meaning that that money can be used directly to fund terrorism. And that was our big problem, why we went in to do this. So we need to stop the funding of proxies like Hezbollah. It is estimated that they will get $5 billion a month from being able to sell that oil on the open market. And there is a reason that Democratic and Republican presidents for 4 decades didn't want that to be the case. And so if you look at those 2 factors, that Iran is still in control of the strait and that they are now making money day one off of this MOU, that is genuine cause for concern. Also talking about what you might get out of the
They're still losing money every day. What, 400 million? Was that what they estimated?
No. And Charlie saying, oh, I think normal people are with Donald Trump about this. 69% say the war wasn't worth the cost, which is estimated at $132 billion.